D or section D of spreadsheets. And it says here, calculate the total rental fee to be paid by multiplying the number of cars by the rental fee. Format this figure using currency and comma format to 2 decimal places. So let us go to our car rental fee. So we're going to put total. What did they say? Total rental fee. So total rental fee. And if we keeping in line with the formatting, that's what it looks like. So they said multiply the number of cars, which is C2, asterisk with the rental fee, which is E2. Enter. We're going to use our handle and drag down. And we are now going to go in and format to comma, and it's 2 decimal places as well, right? So comma and 2 decimal places, and we have our part D completed. The next part says in cell D2 in the cash data sheet, type the label incentive rate in cell B1 and then type the value for 10%. So let us do that. B1, it's not actually B1, it's supposed to be D1, incentive rate, and you're putting 10% here, right? That's how it's going to be. This is what they want to see, 10%. Let me just show you all the sheet with the solution. This is what the solution looks like. This is what the final sheet is supposed to look like. I'm going to do it with you so that we can, then you will know exactly what you have to do, right? So this here is E covered already, step E, and we are now going to go to step F. If 3 or more cars are being rented out, so if you all remember, I had told you all originally to choose between 1 to 3 cars per person, but then I said make 1 or 2 of them for cars because we have a query to do, a if statement to do, where we have to do a calculation if it is more than 3 cars. If 3 or more, right, so it'll be more than or equal to 3 are being rented out, the owner is given a 10% incentive on his total, meaning 10% more money than the total that he was going to pay, right? Add a new column for incentives and use the if function and the value for the incentive from car data sheet. Calculate the owner's incentive. The formula for the first owner must reference the value in cell B1. It's actually not B1, it's D1. So this was wrong. This here and this here is supposed to be D1. When calculating the owner's incentive, use absolute addressing. Then the formula can be replicated to the other owners and rename this sheet rental info. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to go up, and in this sheet we are going to name it incentive here. Let us select the entire column and make it 14, bold and center, right? Good. And wrap text as well, because this one was a little bit big, so we could wrap this wrap text. There we go. Right, incentive, we are going to check to see if it is more than or equal to 3 cars, and then we are going to have the incentive be 10% of the total. So your formula would be equal if open brackets, C2 is more than or equal to 3. Then rental fee multiplied by 10%. Otherwise, it will be 0 because there will be no percent, right? And then we press enter and it did the calculation for me. But remember, if I pull down, remember this part of the formula which says car data exclamation mark D2, that actually is here, this here. If I pull down, it's going to change from D2 to D1 to D3, etc., going down the line, right? So what I have to do is put a dollar sign in front of the D and a dollar sign in front of the 2 and then press enter. So when I drag down now, it shows me only for the cars that have 3 or more, it calculated an incentive. Again, we're going to have to format, comma formatting, right? So this is the extra amount, an incentive that the person will get. So let me write down. So this was the rental fee formula down here. And I'm going to copy now the incentive formula for you all to see. Right, the incentive formula will be, and you all know all formulas begin with an equal sign. So yeah, so I'm going to copy it here for you. And then remember, you have to use absolute addressing. This comes from the second sheet. Right, so let me color that in blue. Right. So if C2, which is here, right, this is C2. At C2 is more than or equal to 3, then E2, it'll be E2, which is your rental fee, multiplied by 10%, which is in this sheet, in this cell, which is D2. And that is how they ask you to do it, right? You can't just type in E2 multiplied by 0.10. That's wrong. They want you to actually use it because if you check back the information here, they say add a new column for incentive using an if and the value for the incentive from the car data sheet, right? And then they spoke about using absolute addressing, which is what we did. We use absolute addressing because the data for the incentive is right in D2, and if we drag down the formula, it will turn to D3, D4, D5, which has nothing in it, right? So we did it here. So if C2 is more than or equal to 3, then rental fee in E2 is multiplied by 10%, comma, 0. So if it's not more than or equal to 3, it's going to give a 0 value. So if you look here, we have 3 here, we have more than 3 here, we have 3 here. So those are the ones that we calculated the incentive for. And yeah, that is, it worked out very well. So these other cars had 0 because they had less than 3 cars, and that is your assignment for your activity